crazy. I've had bits dropped on my stuff. I gotta not spin my spinning thing.
Hi guys.
Hello. Spin my thing into that. That would be really funny.
That'd be really bad.
It would be really bad.
There.
Okay. Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing? Everybody having a good... What day is it today? Friday.
It's Friday.
It's Friday.
All right.
All right.
I think you're good. You can
Okay.
see comments and everything,
Yep.
right?
And you can go deal with all the other stuff. We're good.
Okay.
We're good.
All right.
Hello, everybody. So I'm Heather with Pearly Shell Fiber Arts, and this month I am not the Mad Hatter. I am the White Rabbit. We are working on a lot of Angora this month since they are our featured breed. And there's of course 5 breeds of Angora, but what I'm going to work on today is spinning. And you guys are really far away from me. You guys got to see all my crazy. Okay, hang on there. I'm going to move you a little bit closer. Hi, Brooke. How are you? All right, I'm going to move you and tilt you guys down so you can see my hands. All right. So, I am spinning today on my Craft Rose. And there's a lot of different feelings on it, spinning Angora. And a lot of the issues that we have with Angora is the fact that we use commercial Angora versus non-commercial Angora. Commercial Angora is raised in another country. I'm not talking about what we spin here or raise here as commercial. Commercial Angora can tend to be very, very, very short and staple. Our Angora, when you buy it from a farm here in the U.S., we can actually typically shear any length. So this is my dyed Angora, but you can see when I pull that out, that's quite long. That's 3 to 4 inches in staple length. That is not a short staple length. Hello, everybody. Angora should not be a short staple length. It's not cashmere. Cashmere grows to a certain like a ½ inch or 3/4 of an inch and is done. So does Kiviat, things like that. Angora does not. Angora and many breeds can get up to 10 to 12 inches long. If you buy an English Angora show coat, you can get crazy long. So when we buy Angora, we buy our little bag. We take it. The first thing we're going to do, we're going to spin it from the cloud, is we are going to look at that staple length. And then I'm just going to fluff it up. Now I'm going to use this technique. It's going to make it kind of a wooled yarn. And I'm just going through and fluffing it with my fingers. Because the humidity in the bag, a lot of times, will make it a little bit, you'll think it's matted. It's not. Just fluff. So, get it all fluffed up. Like that. Just like that. So now I have this big handful of Angora, and that's not even the whole of the 20-gram bag. To set my wheel, I have my wheel on actually a fairly slow ratio here. This Craft Roses have 27 ratios. I've got mine on the second to slowest. Because I want to trap air in this yarn. And I want to trap air in this yarn because I want you to have a yarn that is soft and lofty. I don't want a tight yarn. A lot of people go, you have to put all the twist in Angora. There are 2 times where you have to put a lot of twist in Angora. Number 1 is if you are spinning short commercial Angora, you're going to have to add more twist. Number 2 is if you have a really hairy coat, you're going to have to add more twist. So what I do when I'm starting to spin from the cloud is I literally overlap it with my fiber already on the wheel. And I just start spinning and I pull it out. And I'm kind of using a short, hybrid draw here. I don't pay much attention to forward draw, backward draw, all of those things. I just kind of spin. And I'm going to treadle at a moderate speed. I'm not going to go too fast. If I go too fast, I'm going to put too much twist in this, and it's going to be nasty and dumb. So I'm going to go a little slower. This is Danielle's wheel. It doesn't like me as well as her. And I'm just going to spin. If I want lumpy in it, I can let these lumps go through. If I want really, really smooth Angora yarn, I'm going to go ahead and step back. I'm going to slow down my feet even more. I'm going to hang on to my yarn longer. And I'm going to let it go through and focus on how fine I am making my yarn. And I'm just going to spin just like that. It's pretty easy, and I keep it going and do that. Now this Angora, you saw it out of the bag. It wasn't combed, it wasn't carded. This is literally, well, this was obviously dyed. I haven't bred pink Angora. This is a Majacroft rose. Majacrofts are really versatile. You can do all sorts of spinning from fine to art yarn, and you can also spin without oiling, which is like my favorite part of the whole thing, is you can spin without oiling. We have Majacroft Rose, we have a Majacroft Little Gem in the shop as our demo wheels. We take them everywhere. They're great little wheels. Super smooth. They're like driving a Maserati. It's kind of the joke around here that everybody ends up with a Majacroft eventually in our world. So I'm just going to go, and here I got to a part that's a little bit more felty from the dyeing, so I'm pulling this forward. But again, you can see what a smooth, consistent yarn this is, just spinning from the cloud. It's going to be a semi-worsted. It's not going to be truly worsted, but it is. Now, guard hair in Angora. If you get too much guard hair in Angora, you're going to end up with a couple issues. One, you're going to have yarn that doesn't want to stick together. If you've ever spun Angora and it's fallen apart, a lot of times it's because it has too much guard hair. Two, you're going to end up with yarn that doesn't have any memory or hold its shape. Angora does not have memory like wool, but it does have memory on its own, as long as the crimp is correct. And when I say correct, it should be consistent root to tip. How to spell the name of the wheel? It is Majacraft, Majacroft. Yep, and they're absolutely lovely little wheels. So I'm just going to spin this here and keep going. Like I say, I just fluffed this from the cloud, and this is how I spin 99% of Angora. You do not have to wash your Angora. You do not have to card it. You do not have to spend tons of time with it. You can just go through and comb. Somebody was asking for a demo of how to spin it off the bunny. My bunnies are actually non-molting. I can either leave that or take it out. My bunnies are actually non-molting, so I don't spin directly off the bunny. But this is basically how, when you see them doing that, that's all they're doing, is just taking this. And you can see I can get my fingers quite a ways away here because the fiber is long. If you have shorter fiber, like I say, commercial fiber, I don't recommend buying Angora online unless you are buying from a farm or from somebody who deals with them, because commercial Angora is a whole different thing, and nothing you hear today will apply to Angora from another country unless they are actually producing it in small batches. I got a couple second cuts in there. Okay, keep spinning this. So Angora is really versatile. We use it for lace a lot of times. We also do, though, use it for art yarn. This is actually a woven shawl. You can see we use some Angora art yarn for the weft, the warp, and this is silk. And throw like everything on my floor here. Okay, and this is Angora art yarn, and this is another way that I'm not going to show you today how to spin it. We're going to have to do a different clinic. But this is actually just art yarn that I then ply with gold. All of my seconds go into this, and sometimes my prime coats, because it is so light and fluffy and soft, and I sell a ton of this at fiber festivals. This is Angora. Ooh, that was bright. In our roving, this is a 50-50 Angora blend. We do a lot of Angora rovings here. Some of them are very smooth, and some of them we use seconds again and make fun, chunky roving like this would spin really chunky. And then this one, hang on if I can get it. This is actually pure Angora that I have to look. When I spin, yep. Okay, so when I get really into spinning, I spin really fine. So this is chain plied lace that I did out of an Angora show coat. It turned out really gorgeous. It's been here. I think I'm going to make something out of it. It's actually a giant Angora coat. It's super pretty. So there's lots of different things. Angora is very versatile. It is, however, very warm. So spinning lace and then using an open pattern is still going to get you a ton of warmth compared to a lot of other products that you can use. So this is how I spin it from this. Now, if I was going to make a Rolag and spin it, whoops, this is like Heather drops everything day. Okay, and I am really bad with carders. All right, so these are Mod Craft carders. These are really lightweight. What you're going to do, you're going to brush it on. It's like this. Danielle's probably watching me in the office going, oh my gosh, she's making a Rolag. Because Brooke can testify, I never do prep. Ever. Okay, so I'm just carding this across. But I've watched Danielle do it enough. I know how to do it. And I'm just going to pick this up again. You can also spin, I will caution you, if you're using a bat, like a carder, drum carder, go really slow. You will break your Angora just because of the fact it is so fine and it's really easy to nip it up. Especially English and satin. French and giant are a little bit more sturdy. So once I have it across a few times, it's fairly smooth. Take this, set it in here, and make my little Rolag. I am not nearly as good at this as like the people who do this all the time, like Lisa and all the people who sell beautiful Rolags that I buy because, you know, I love spinning them. So then that gives me my Rolag, which is actually a pretty Rolag. Look at Danielle, I made a pretty Rolag. Okay? Yeah, it's totally Danielle's job to do this. I've actually handed her Costco. I really need a smooth spin. So what this does, though, is this does allow me to go faster and keep the same smooth consistency. Like I say, I am a fine weight spinner. This is kind of my default. Do not feel bad if this isn't your default, and do not make this your goal to have this as your default. You are your own independent soul, and you spin what makes you happy. This is kind of a pain because I have to sit here and ply it with 50 million things. But you can see again, because of the length of the US Angora, that it's plenty long to do things with. Typically, industry standard is 2.5 inches, but 2.5 to 5 inches. I do mark anything that's longer than that unless it goes into my bags of dyed, which is where a lot of our show coats end up, because a lot of times show coats can be a little bit webby. So then I dye. You can totally make it on a blending board, or you can use it in the carder. Rolag, everybody thinks you need to use a blending board. You can, but there is nothing you can do on a blending board that you cannot do on your hand carders for a smaller thing. It just depends. The fun thing about the blending board is you can paint easier using a blending board. Yes, it is so hard to do anything else. Once you get fine as a default, you just sit there and go, and I'm just spinning really fine, all the things, and I don't know what I'm doing. And then you look down and you're spinning, sewing thread again. So you can use a blending board. You can also just use hand cards. You can use, you can make Rolags off of your drum carder too. Like I say, my caution with Angora is go really slow, because you're going to have, if you go too fast, you're going to break the fibers. So you're stuck at fingering weight. It is. So then you have to start really focusing, and I teach everybody to count really well. So if I needed to spin this chunky, right, I'm going to start my wheel, I'm going to start to count. So I'm going 1, 2, 3, let a big chunk go through. 1, 2, 3, let a big chunk go through. Like that. Now, I have to look to see if anybody's doing an art yarn demo. If nobody is, I'll do it. If it spun so fine, the way that I'm actually keeping air in here is that, number one, my speed is slower. Number two, because I'm not spinning it worsted, I'm not spinning a combed fiber, which Angora does not comb very well. It is going to have air trapped in there. And when I go back through and ply, it'll be a nice, soft, lofty yarn. I don't know. What did I do with that one? There. So this one is spun that way. So you can see, even though that's chain plied, and it's fine, you can still see it's lofty. And you can also see here, the halo in this yarn is a very light halo. It is not like a French Angora halo. So it's really nice and light and lofty, but still very, very fine. So to make this into something, I don't even know what I make it into. I don't spin. Here's the irony. I spin fine. I don't knit or crochet with fine yarn. I am not a fine yarn user, so that's why I sell it all. Not that I have any time anymore to knit or crochet. It's okay, because I would rather be sitting here spinning than knitting or crocheting. Everybody has their own thing that they love to do. It's kind of what we do. So, again, you're going to look at your staple length when you get your Angora. You're going to spin it according to that. And you're going to keep, don't kill it, okay? If I take this yarn, apply it back on itself. That's actually fairly even. I don't know how well you guys can see that. That's a pretty even ply. So I'm going to show you something here. If I spin, because I'm stressed out, because life's hard, and we all put our energy into our wheels, whether we think so or not. And I'm not letting it through. And I'm a little nervous, so I'm holding it tight. I'm kind of fighting with my wheel here. So then, take that yarn back. See how much tighter that is? I haven't spun the life out of it, but I've definitely made it more of a tense, I increase its tensile strength, the tensileness of everything. So, something to remember with that. Keep it light, keep it lofty. See there, it broke because I couldn't even undo that one. It's okay. So keep it light and lofty. Don't kill it. Just go gentle. Make it be happy. There's no need to have tense yarn. Because when we spin a lot of these fine wools, or fine Angora, or fine anything, the point of it is that it is soft. And we never want to kill the softness by our usage of it. It's the same reason. Hi, Amy. That's okay. I was late too. Well, I wasn't really late. The real reason why we love soft things is because we love the handle, right? So we don't want to get it so that we can't handle the handle anymore because we're just putting so much tension into it. If it's not sticking together, like I say, it is either probably that you have too much guard hair or you do need to add a little bit more twist. But I challenge anybody to go into their closet and find any type of commercial yarn besides acrylic. Okay, don't take acrylic out of this mix. Find any type of commercial yarn and break that yarn. You're going to be able to break it so much easier than you can break any hand spun yarn. Yeah, you have to stop spinning sometimes, as it is. It comes all the time. It gets really stressful and it, sometimes if I'm really stressed out, I actually take my hands away from my wheel and I sit here and I treadle my wheel. And this motion, to me, I am very much a treadler in my wheels. I keep trying e-spinners and I keep going, oh, sure, they're fine, but they're really not my thing because I need to treadle. So a lot of times I'll sit here and do this and I'll roll my shoulders around and relax my shoulders, bring my shoulders back, relax them, and then after I've done that, I will pick up my spinning and spin. After 15 minutes of spinning, your stress level goes down. I think we should all spin yarn every night before we go to bed. I think our stress level would be so much better. Even if you're spinning something like Angora that you think is hard. Which isn't hard if you get the right Angora. I'm almost done with my Rolag. That was really fun. I should make more. Not really. Maybe I'll make one more. So then I just let it go. Let it spin. And let it go in there. And you guys will see this bobbin has all sorts of crazy stuff. I don't even know what it's got on it anymore. You guys can see. But yeah, it's like we should all just relax. Spin. Don't be scared to spin things that you haven't done. We also fall into that trap, right? Like, oh my gosh, I bought this beautiful roving, this beautiful bag of Angora, and what am I going to do with it? Because I'm not good enough for it. I have people tell me all the time that when we used to go to fiber festivals, I love your rovings, but I am not good enough for your rovings or for your Angora. Guess what? You're good enough for it whether you spin for 1 day or for 50 days. It doesn't matter. Okay, please one more Rolag. Okay, hang on. Told everybody I am not the Rolag person. That's Danielle. These are my hand carders. These are Modulcraft hand carders. I'm going to grab my carded or my dyed Angora. Someday I'll be able to crack the genetic code. Make Angora. Just got on as well. Very cool. Okay, so I'm run my fiber over my hand cards. Danielle's going to come in and save me. Look, I made a Rolag though, and I used it and everything.
Well, that's too much fiber.
Well, I wasn't putting it all on there. They're up there now, so you have to kind of.
I see them.
Because I moved them. Danielle's like, don't hurt my garters.
Okay. Did you go to like petting the kitten?
Yeah, kind of, but you can do it again because they're new people.
Okay, so we go through and we kind of walk it off.
I did that 3 times.
Yeah, you have to do it 3 times. It's like shots of tequila.
We need like 4 shots of tequila today.
Every day. You don't want to overfill your carders because then it makes it really hard to
Pull it off.
Pull it off and get it smooth, and because that's the whole point of doing this.
We had like blending boards, but they sold really quick, and now I have to order more.
And we don't get to play with blending boards. And if you walk it across, see, it's walking like this and dragging your fibers through the teeth, not the teeth through each other. You can get your whole card clean, which is awesome. So one last time, 3 times because 3 is a lucky number. You didn't listen to me, little dog.
3 times through the carder.
Yep, and now I'm trying to just clean out my cards.
You don't scrape your teeth across. You literally flip up and down.
I'm literally just walking it through. And then I'm going to take it, fold it over.
I will say these are like, I think, my favorite carders that I've ever used.
They are definitely high on my list.
They're so much lighter weight.
I wish the handles were round.
Uh-huh.
For my hands.
For your hands.
Yep.
Yeah.
I wish the handles were round. That's my only beef.
So most of my Angora, I spin it all sorts of different ways.
I'm not... Oh, can they not see?
They can't see. I'm moving it so they can see.
I was trying to...
Curve it. Yep. And then you get your little Rolag.
And that one's really nice and smooth and pretty.
It is. Most of my Angora, I spin literally from the cloud like this. I take it out of my bag. I fluff it. Because most Angora, U.S. Angora, thank you, Danielle, is much longer than when we get told, okay? If you buy commercial Angora, like from overseas, it's going to be short because there is more money, clearly, in harvesting your rabbits, shearing them more often. But we get to choose that. It doesn't come with the same... It doesn't just grow to a set length. It does, but it's much longer than 2 inches or an inch and a half. So like this Angora, if I can get it out, is like 4 inches. Okay, for reference sake, your middle finger is almost always 3 inches, right around that. So then I literally just spin it here, and I spin it on a slower setting. I keep my hands and I just literally spin it from my fluffed up cloud. And this is how I spin 99.9% of Angora, unless we have a really specific project in mind that I need to spin something else for. Is I spin it like this, or I spin it in art yarn, but I'm not showing art yarn today. I'm going to show that a different day, or somebody else will show it. So I just spin this way, and you can see now, try to get enough on there that you can actually see it. Doopy-doopy-doo. When I spin from my Rolag, I'm going to find that Angora later and be like, how the heck did Angora get down here on top of my locks? And I'd be like, what the heck did I do in here? And then I'll be like, oh, Angora demo. Okay, probably not. We'll probably clean it up. Okay, so then spin my Rolag. I start from my end, and I just pull out a little bit, and I literally do the same thing. Now, I will say, your prep work does speed up your spinning. See, I can go a little bit faster with this Rolag than I can out of my cloud. It depends on how much you like prep work. I happen to think it is awful. Some people love it. They'll sit there with their cloud of fluffy fiber on the couch, and they'll make Rolag after Rolag after Rolag. And I used to do that. And then I realized what I really like is spinning. So that's one reason why I have Angoras, is because I can cut the hair off, not wash it, not do any prep, and just start spinning. Every breed of Angora spins a little bit differently. This is English, so it spins very fine with very few guard hairs. And again, I'm not going to overspin it because it is long enough. It does not need to be overspun. And it has fine enough guard hairs that they're not going to make it slippery and have the yarn come out. So, yeah, Ricky, exactly. I mean, like, okay, I love wool. I'm not joking. I love the smell of lanolin and stuff. I send it to a mill for a reason. So, yeah. Oh, it'll keep on here. It'll be on the page forever. Okay? So it'll be on the page forever. Sometimes it hooks up to the event and sometimes it's weird. But I will share this into the event too. I thought it hooked in, but it must have bounced. I use clippers, and we're going to be doing a shearing demo at some point here on Wafa. It's in the group. But literally, I use clippers, and I just buzz them off. It's super easy, super fast. It does not stress them out. They're used to being handled. And then it's done. Some people use scissors. And it's just like shearing a sheep, except I don't have to roll them around on the ground or do anything like that. It's gonna be super fun. How did you get into spinning? I want so badly to get some Angoras, but we're currently in the Flemish giant business. I got into spinning actually when I always wanted to do it. You know how I was a really weird kid and I always wanted to do, always wanted to spin. It was like a thing. And one day I actually had Netherland dwarf rabbits at the time. And I did show rabbits, with my Netherland dwarfs. And I was selling out my Netherland dwarfs because I'd moved to the Midwest. And sounds like a really long story here. But I sold my rabbit herd and I was walking down the street. And I swear to you, I never saw this shop again. Like, I'm not even sure the shop was real. This shop came, I walked around the corner. I was in Hannibal, Missouri. I was living in Missouri at the time. And we were there, like, looking at Mark Twain stuff because we were touristy in the state. And so I went on the corner of this spinning shop. It wasn't even a yarn shop. It was a spinning shop. And in the window was one spinning wheel. And I went in there and the lady said, "Oh, sure, it's for sale." And I went, "How much is it?" And it was like $475 or whatever. And I went, "I have just that much money from my rabbits." I can't even make this story up. So I went and I bought the spinning wheel, and she gave me a 10-minute lesson, and she sent me home with a bag of raw wool and a Rick Reeves spinning wheel. And at that time the internet wasn't really around. Like, we had AOL and stuff, but it wasn't really around. So I sat in my basement and I learned to spin from a book called The Joy of Spinning. That is how I learned how to spin. And that was many, 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 many years ago. As you can reference by the fact that the internet wasn't around. And after that, I did it on and off, and I loved it. It has stayed with me my whole life. Now I own a yarn shop and a spinning wheel shop, and I spin, and I love it. And I have Angoras. I got rabbits actually as a teenager still, but I didn't show Angoras until I moved back to the Northwest, where the weather was really good. It was really, and now I have satin, English, French, and giant. My primary breed is satin. They are the love of my life, or my satin Angoras. But that's how I did it. And here's the ironic thing. I swear this is true. Like 3 months later, we went back to Hannibal, and I went to that spinning shop to ask them questions, and they were gone. I think it might have been like, I don't know, fate. It was just fate. The fate gods sent the spinning wheel shop the day that I was going to be there with my rabbit money in my virtual pocket, because it was bizarre. And that also made me a fine spinner, and it also made me really a wheel snob because I started with Rick Reeves, which are the best wheels in the history of the world, with the exception of the Montracrofts that I spin now. So it's really kind of an ironic story. But the Angora, and it just grows. When you love something and you have a passion for it, it grows. I am not an analytical spinner. I don't expect you guys to ever sit here with anything and go, I want you to, spin this way on 30 seconds and do all this stuff. I don't care. If your yarn makes you happy and what you are doing makes you happy, you are winning the whole day, because we put our heart and soul into our wheels and into our yarn and into all of our stuff. And if it makes you happy, that's all that matters. I do not have, I wish I had that original wheel. I have a wheel just like it. When I was like in my 20s, you know how you need money really bad? Yeah, that was the only thing of value that I had. So I sold it up to Canada. And I regret that to this day, but I did buy a Reeves, and I do have a couple of Reeves in the shop that are my wheels. They don't even really get used, but they're my wheels. And I was out of spinning for probably 3 years until I was back into a position where I could spin more. So it's really kind of, it's funny. It's, I think that we have, well, and they've proven it through studies, that we have memories of what our ancestors did. And we actually, if you come from a family of loggers, you have genetic memories stored in your brain. And I think the spinning is that way for everybody, because we all would have spun for thousands of years. We would have had to spin to stay alive. Everybody had to spin because, it took too much yarn to live in the world. And we lose that part because of the fact that textile arts are not as well preserved, obviously, as things that were made out of stone. So because we lose textiles, they through time they reabsorb, or they disintegrate faster. Whatever you want to use the word. My words are not that great today. So we kind of lose sight of the fact that this isn't just me doing this. This is thousands of years of people doing this. So if you want to do it, do it. If you want to get rabbits, do it. Do your research on the rabbits, and we're going to cover a lot of that. I'm going to be doing a demo on starting with Angora rabbits too this month. Do your research, because they are a living creature and you owe that to them. But it is possible. Everything is possible. I'm going to get you guys in close so you can see. Whoops. Hang on. I'm going to take my phone off. Okay. There we go. So you can see the pinks are what I've spun today. And there's my yarn. If I want to check my ply, like I did before, pull it back, and I check my ply, and it's all good. So, yeah. Starting Angora does make you a better spinner. I used that raw wool, and then I switched to, of all things, the only thing I had were my huskies. So I spun dog hair for a really long time. That was one of the things that I did. So there you go. There's a little bit on how to spin Angora. I don't know if you guys can see. And don't be afraid. Spin. Have fun. Make the world a prettier place. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.